Squared by the, we believe that music learning is not just with the classes and performances we do. By learning through the journeys and stories of people in the music world, we open ourselves to fresh insights and inspirations for our own journey.
Today we have Ahana Chellamani who's here with us today. And she's a deeply talented vocalist who is known for her passion for music. We extend a warm welcome to you. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and who your gurus are?
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm very excited. I am a Carnatic vocalist, as they said. I've been learning Carnatic music since the age of 4, so it's been a while. I initially started my training under Srimati Shubha Sundarajan and Shri K.N. Raghu. Shubha Sundarajan is based in the RGP area, and now I'm continuing my learning under Srimati Kritika Natarajan, who is based in Chennai and in Pennsylvania, and she is a student of Ranjani Gayatri. And yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited.
How has learning music affected the way you view the world and how you feel more intentional both on and off the stage?
Good question. I think that a lot of it comes with performing. When you start performing and when you're performing music on stage, there is nothing going on except for what you're doing, what your accompanists are doing. That's the only thing that matters. You're so in the moment, and you have to be so in the moment, especially when you're doing things like Mano Dharmam, when you're thinking about the songs that you're singing, what kritis you're singing, what is the next sangati, those kinds of things. You have to be so present. And I think practicing that presence of mind when you're performing, it allows you to transfer that into other areas of life. So if I'm, studying for a test, or if I'm, learning something for a class, it's like I know that I'm in this moment, and this moment is all that really matters. And so I have to give my 100% to this exact moment. And I think a lot of that comes from when you're on stage, or when you're even learning a song with your gurus, or when you're in class, or at a jam session, whatever it is, nothing exists beyond the moment that you're in. You know what I'm saying? So I think because you're practicing that so much while performing your art form, you end up being able to transfer that over to other parts of your life. And it's really helped me, I think, in a lot of different areas. Yeah.
So impression through expression is something that's often associated with vocal music. We strive to achieve a balance between sahitya, bhava, tempo, and in doing so, we create an impression on the minds of the audience. So how do you create a balance between these two?
I think that the most important thing in order to do that is you have to fully feel the piece that you're singing. Whatever ragam that you're singing in, whatever talam you're singing in, whatever the sahityam of the song that you're singing, you have to fully imbibe that. You have to fully understand that piece in whatever way that means to you. A lot of the times, I think for me, I understand a piece through the ragam that it's in, because I think a ragam is often very telling of the mood of the song. So by understanding that ragam, I'm able to understand the emotion that I want to convey, and that emotion I can convey through the tempo of the song, through the way that I inflict my voice when saying the sahityam of the song. And all of those things kind of come together, I think, just kind of naturally when you yourself feel the piece. So I think a lot of it just comes from the more you sing it, the more you understand it, the more you listen to other people sing it and their interpretations of it, the more you understand the piece through different lenses, and you can kind of incorporate all of those different variations and interpretations into your own style. And you're able to convey the piece in a manner that just really sounds like you. I think that just very naturally happens the more that you practice it and the more that you understand whatever piece that you're singing.
We all know that high school years are like jam-packed with schoolwork and other things. How did you sustain your vocal music among these talents?
It was hard, I won't lie. I think that one thing that I had on my side that really helped me was, at some point I ended up finding music as a form of stress relief. And so during times of very, very heavy periods of stress in school, whether that was a very large and heavy exam season or I had essays and projects due, rather than seeing practice as another thing on my to-do list, I saw it as kind of a release. And I was able to use that mindset to practice music whenever I had the time, and I would make time for it just because in a lot of senses it would just provide me with a sense of like mental ease I could transfer that back to studying or whatever else that it was that I was doing. And I think that with that I think that Carnatic music in and of itself is something that we, as like people growing up in the US, we often find it as something a little bit taxing at times because it's hard to keep up an art form in a country that's so different from India. But I mean, obviously all of us enjoy it so much, and I think that just tapping into that enjoyment rather than tapping into the stress of keeping it alive and the stress of practicing it in an environment so different allows you make time to practice your art form, you make time to practice singing or whatever instruments that you play, just because you see it as something that you enjoy rather than as something that takes up valuable time, as I think a lot of us tend to see it,
That's really wonderful advice. So performing with a sibling honestly is just such an amazing feeling, and I know you've had the opportunity to perform with your brother on stage. So how has this kind of impacted how you perform now?
Good question. I think it's cool performing with Abhi because he obviously he got involved in Carnatic music after seeing my family being involved in Carnatic music, seeing me sing. And it's so rewarding watching him perform at such a high level, he's growing to perform obviously at such a high level. And obviously there's a lot of room for growth for all of us, but when I perform next to him, it's the sense of, I think, a very strong mix of comfort and pride when I'm on stage, because I have this kid who has grown up beside me, and he has taken such a liking to this art form to the point where he is able to perform it at a younger age on stage with me, and I don't know, it's very comforting because I know that he understands me. He's seen me practice in my house. He understands my style. He knows how I go about creating swarams or creating netavos or things like that, so he understands that a little bit more. So there's a sense of ease when I'm performing with him because I don't really have to worry about as much on stage. And I think that having that experience does transfer over to other kacheris that you're performing. You have a sense of acceptance that these people around me love the art form just as much as me. So my other accompanists, they love this art form just as much as I do, and we're all on stage together. And I know that because I've performed with my brother who loves the art form just as much as I do as well,
On the same note, you had the opportunity to share the stage with your dad. What was this like?
It was amazing. My dad has always been, such a big role model in my life. He's the one who got me interested in music in a lot of senses in the first place. A lot of people, my family members, will say that I got my love for singing from him. So being able to perform with him, it's such an honor because, this is someone that I've looked up to for my whole life, someone that I'm so inspired by, someone who has really driven me to pursue music throughout my life. And getting to sit on stage and perform with him, I think it just makes you, I don't know, it really brings that appreciation of it's kind of the same thing I was saying with my brother, where it's we all love this. We all love being here. We all care so much about what we're doing, how we're performing, and now because of that, because of the love that I have for this art form, I have the honor of sitting on stage with my dad and singing with him, and I have the honor of singing alongside my brother who's playing mridangam for me. I think that you see the value of loving something so much because you're performing with people that you love and people that you're inspired by because of it, you know? Yeah.
We always hear practice, practice, practice from our gurus, but it's also important to make sure that the practice is effective and not just you singing, just for the point of singing. So how do you make sure that your practice is actually helping you grow in life?
I think a lot of it does come from your gurus. They'll tell you exactly what you're doing wrong all the time. But I think that for me, I always start off a practice session with doing a little bit of akaram, warming up the voice. You know, if I'm practicing a specific ragam on a certain day, doing like akarams, sarli verses, janta verses in that ragam, getting myself into the vibe of what I'm going to practice, what I'm going to sing. And being intentional, because obviously, like you said, like we don't always have a lot of time to practice. So if you're dedicating an hour a day or like 2 hours a day, whatever it is, knowing that like, okay, these are my goals for the day. Like this is what last class I didn't sing this sangati of this song correctly, and then really dissecting it, seeing why didn't I sing that sangati correctly? What about that sangati was difficult for me? Was it a briha here? Was it a gamakam there? Was it not understanding the ragam fully? And by understanding, I guess, that baseline of what you're trying to correct, you can correct your mistake from the ground up. So it's a lot easier when working from like level 0 and working your way up. I find that by like kind of spending a little bit of time during my practice sessions itself, breaking down what exactly I'm focusing on, and branching that out into like a larger topic that I can focus on as a whole, I can more intentionally prioritize the way that I go about my practice sessions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, kind of tying back to the earlier question, I know lots of people think practice feels like a chore.
Mhm.
Do you have any tips on how to make it seem more fun?
Yeah, of course. I mean, always sing ragams that you like. I mean, there are ragams that you won't like. Believe me, like I know. But like focusing, like always making sure you do something per practice session that you enjoy. You know, like for me, a lot of times that's like singing a faster song. I love singing fast songs, so it's like a little reward. You know, like if I'm practicing like a very, very slow song, which I've grown to love, I have, but originally I didn't really like slow songs a lot. So if I knew that I had to practice a much slower paced song, then I would offset that by giving myself the ability to sing a faster song or a tilana or something at the end of the practice session. If it was a ragam that I didn't like very much, then making sure that I also do a little bit of a ragam that I do like. Listening to artists that you just enjoy listening to. There are also artists that you're listening to just because you want to understand the way that they go about pronunciation, or the way that they go about manodharmam, things like that. And so it's important to listen to those artists too, but also artists that you find comfort in, artists that you enjoy listening to. And I think that just by balancing a practice session with things that you know you have to work on and things that you just enjoy doing, things that you just like doing for fun, you create like kind of a more holistic experience that makes practicing seem way less like a chore and just kind of like a fun little side quest. Yeah.
I'll make sure to try that next time I practice.
Yeah, we all strive to achieve perfection, even during performances and things. But there are obviously some mistakes that are obviously going to occur sometimes. But it's important to get past those mistakes.
Right.
So when you're performing on stage, how do you ignore those mistakes and try to perfect the other parts of the concert that you haven't done yet?
Good question. I don't think I've mastered this art at all yet. I think it goes back to that thing that I was talking about towards the beginning about, you're in the moment that you're in and nothing before or after really matters. When you make a mistake on stage, it really does feel like the end of the world. But I think that just having that presence of mind, being like, okay, that's done. I can't go back. I can't change the past. Now I'm singing this part of the song, or I'm doing this part, and I have to focus on this and only this, always helps me. And I think that also understanding that this isn't your first concert, it's not your last concert, there are going to be more. And knowing that people know you as not this mistake that you've made, but how you are overarchingly as a performer. It provides a sense of comfort when you make a mistake on stage of I'm gonna be fine. Like this won't be the end of the world. People know me as more than, you know, missing a knee here or a god there or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know lots of people feel like that their mistakes are literally the definition of them, and
Right.
it's hard to like get over that.
It is, yeah.
So, how do you think AI will impact Carnatic music in the near future?
In the near future, my dad is obsessed with AI music. He's been talking about it all the time. I think that AI music, it's an exciting thing because, you know, we've never had something like this. We've never had some technology cognizant enough to create art. But I think because we've never had something like this, it's not large enough to impact the actual art form at its crux yet. And I'm hoping that it doesn't impact it negatively in the long term either. I think the one thing that we as like humans have that AI currently can't replace is our ability to give emotion and personalization through emotion to any piece that we perform. We are all able to understand every piece that we listen to slightly differently because we're all different people, and that the way that we perform music is all very like slightly different or vastly different because of that. I think that AI, while it may soon be able to create a raga alapana relatively easily, it won't have that bhava, that sense of like emotion and character that we as humans are able to provide. So I don't think that it has the ability to substantially impact Carnatic music in the short term, because until AI can, I guess, create emotion on its own, it's never going to carry the same weight as another human being singing or performing, if that makes sense.
How was your experience performing with your group by playing the computer and singing
Amazing. It was such an amazing experience. I think that being in Chennai during the Chennai music season is just such an amazing experience in and of itself. You're surrounded by so many artists that are so talented. Everyone that you look at, everyone that you're watching perform, or even the people that are next to you while you're eating lunch are all such talented, amazing performers. And having the ability to share a stage with some of them, having the ability to sit on stage with my guru and play the tampura while these amazing accompanists were accompanying her while she was performing so wonderfully, I think it opens your eyes to how much you have to learn. I think everyone has that feeling of like there's always more to learn, there's always more room to grow, more room to change. You're always trying to find ways to better yourself. But I think that in India, it's like a totally different experience during music season because you're surrounded by countless people that are all so invested in this field. And because of that, whether it was me performing with accompanists that were next to me or me listening to my guru perform while I was on stage with her, I was just so enamored by every single performer that I was observing or that I was accompanied by. And I think that it really does like kind of shape the way that you think moving forward. Like I think coming back from that experience, I was able to give so much more to like a practice session, or in my class I was a lot more focused just because I was like, wow, like there's just so much out there, you know what I'm saying?
So on a side note, what was your favorite performance when you were in Chennai?
My favorite performance, I think that I performed at Tatvaloka. It was, I think, my third concert of the season, And the reason that I liked it so much was because my second concert of the season was like the worst concert I had ever given, ever. Like it was just, I think I just got super nervous, and like all the mistakes that I made, I just couldn't get into that like frame of mind that I was talking about earlier for some reason. And so after that concert, I was feeling very low about myself. And when I went to Tatvaluka, I think that I was already kind of at like a level 0, if that makes sense. Like I was kind of like, oh, I can't get any worse than this, you know? And I think that mindset really helped me. Like I performed, and it was just, I was so carefree during that performance. It was not my favorite performance because of anything other than the way that I felt. I was just so at peace when performing at that concert. And it was the first time I had felt that peacefulness when performing in Chennai. Because obviously, like, Chennai carries a little bit more, like, weight in your mind. You're like, oh my gosh, Chennai, like, I'm performing in Chennai. Like, it scares you. Or at least it scared me. But that concert, I think I was just so, like, I was just kind of at peace with the way that I was singing. A mistake that I made, like, it just, like, it flew out of my brain the second that I made it, and I was able to stay in the moment and continue my performance in, you know, like, the best that I could. And after that concert, I remember just feeling like such a sense of relief. Like, oh my gosh, I found my ability to perform in India. That was the feeling that I had. And I was able to transfer over that feeling to my remaining concerts. So I think that the Tatvaluka concert just has a special place in my heart because I was so relaxed at that concert, and I had never experienced that relaxation at any concert prior to that one.
I think it's nice that you're able to stay present with your music. You know, it's like really hard.
Not always, but whenever I can.
Yeah, so if you had to compare your personality to that of a raga, which one would you choose?
This is a really popular question.
There's so many ragas. Let me think. Okay, I think that, I think Dvijavanti. I've really been liking Dvijavanti recently. I just think it's a great ragam. It's a very complex ragam. I think you can convey it with any emotion that you really associate with it, which is what I really like about it. And I feel like because of that wide range, I can see like a lot of myself in Dvijavanti because it encapsulates like maybe all aspects of myself, you know, whether I'm like a little angry or a little or just like happy or just like in the moment, whatever it is. Like I think that Dvijavanti has the ability to convey all aspects of that, you know, as a ragam. Yeah.
Nice, unique raga. It's really nice to hear whatever anyone says. Like there's so many different ragams. So you're a part of NCYCAC, which is a wonderful platform for musically inclined youth. So how has this kind of impacted you and impacted the community as a whole?
I'll start with me and then I'll go to the community. It's impacted me because NCYCAC has provided me with a community of people that I love them all so much, and we've grown together in the music world in Cary, North Carolina, or, you know, the RTP area. And that is, I think, such an important thing, especially for all of us growing up in the United States where, you know, Carnatic music isn't as frequently performed or practiced. Having, you know, people your age, people that have the same experience as you, same life experience as you, pursuing Carnatic music and being able to relate to them on that, it makes performing and practicing and appreciating Carnatic music so much easier because you have people to enjoy it with. And I think that I'm so thankful for NCYCAC. I'm so thankful for organizations like that in the area because they've helped us develop that sense of like community and acceptance within ourselves for learning and practicing Carnatic music that I think is just invaluable. Like I think that is so important to advance yourself within the field professionally. And then for the community, I think it's the same thing. I've enjoyed being able to give in whatever capability that sense of acceptance to the next generation so much. I've really appreciated that because I know how valuable it is, and I love being on the board. I love contributing to, different charity causes is also such a great thing that we do. And I love being able to do that and allowing the next generation of kids to also feel that same acceptance that I felt when I found NCYCAC. It is okay to perform Carnatic music and look at these other kids that are just like you that are also performing Carnatic music,
Yeah, I think it's really nice to see like those organizations, as you said.
Right. Yeah.
It's also nice that you guys, donate to charities. It just shows like how much impact Carnatic music can really have.
Exactly.
So I know you're amazing at Carnatic music, but have you ever tried any other genres?
I did chorus in middle school. I liked it a lot. I was like a musical theater kid in middle school, so I did like all of the like dramas and like I sang like for all the musical theater productions. We used to go to karaoke parties as growing up a lot, and so I would learn a lot of like Hindi music or like A.R. Rahman songs, like things like that, and I would perform them there. Nothing has obviously been with as much fullness as Carnatic music. I think that Carnatic music has just, it's just kind of like impacted my life in a way that no other genre of music has. But I do love singing all kinds of music, and I think that just kind of, like, I think that when you like one form of art so much, you end up liking all the other forms of that art as kind of just a byproduct,
I think, adding on to what you said, one of the things we've learned interviewing people is that people have really strong opinions on fusion music. So what is your take on fusion music?
Overarchingly, I don't like it. I think that Carnatic music is so, it's such a deep and like genuinely like you have to fully understand Carnatic music in a lot of senses to enjoy it at its peak capacity. And there's so much history and knowledge behind every piece, every ragam, every talam, like everything that you're giving into Carnatic music. It's very full and it's very heavy, and it does take a while to understand it, which is why it's not very appealing to a large portion of the population, because it takes a while to fully invest yourself in it. And I respect what fusion music is trying to do. Like, I respect we're trying to diversify our audience, we're trying to show other people what Carnatic music has to offer. But I think the issue with it is that what Carnatic music has to offer is its depth and its history and its knowledge, and you can't convey that through just a regular old fusion piece. But I do think that there are some genres of music that you can fuse together really well with Carnatic music. I've always had this idea of combining Carnatic music Manodharmam aspects with jazz music. I think that would be really, really cool, because jazz in and of itself is so creative and so interpretive, and I think that the Manodharmam of Carnatic music is the same way. So I think that if you go kind of in that realm, like the more like creative aspects of Carnatic music, and you try to combine them with more creative aspects of Western music or whatever other realm of music, I think that it does have a place. I think fusion music does have a place, but I think that the way that people do it right now is not necessarily that.
Well, whenever you decide to combine the Manodharmam with jazz music, I'm sure we're all ready to listen.
I'm gonna work on it, don't worry.
Yes, I think it sounds like a really interesting idea to
Yeah.
combine both of those.
So one last question. So for some people, reaching the low notes in Carnatic music is really difficult. Especially for me, I find it really difficult from time to time. So was this ever a challenge for you, and how did you improve your vocal range?
It was a challenge for me. People tell me I have a high voice when I speak a lot. I don't know if you guys are feeling that.
I agree.
I think this is such a basic answer, practicing your lower studies. There was a period of time, especially I think like when I was really, really struggling with my lower voice, where I would start by just singing, holding notes from low sa and going down, seeing how low I could go. It was like a fun little challenge for me, and also like a good way to warm up the voice. pro tip though, if you ever have to sing a really low song, just make sure your concert's in the morning because your voice is lower in the morning. Don't use that for like, you know, the professional realm. But yeah, I think that just practicing from like practicing just sustaining low notes, seeing how low you can go, and like, I don't know, if you can reach like the one day, try to reach fa the next day, try to reach ma the day after that. I think that slowly it just does naturally train your voice. And this isn't an art that I've perfected either. It's one thing that I've tried out, and it's held some kind of value.
We'll be moving on to some rapid fire questions now.
Okay.
I know you said Bujavanti was a ragam that you resonated with.
Yeah.
Is there any other ragams that you really love?
I love the melancholy ragams. I love like a good Madhuvanti, that realm of ragams. I think they're so
I
much
think that's
fun.
nice. Lots of people like really happy and happy ragams. So yeah.
No, I think you can give more emotion to those, which is why I like them.
Yeah. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about your guru?
Oh my gosh, she's like a sister to me. She really is. Like she like loves me like a sister. She teases me like a sister. She gets mad at me like a sister. I tell her everything. Like we honestly sometimes spend like an entire hour of class just talking, which is bad. Don't do that. But I don't know. I relate to her so much. I'm able to talk to her about anything, and I think God, I'm so thankful that I have that in a guru, because don't worry, she's like strict when she needs to be, which is a lot of the times. But I'm also just so comfortable around her. I can make mistakes around her. I can be myself around her. I can tell her anything. If I haven't practiced 1 week, I can tell her the real reasons why, whatever it is, you know? And I'm very thankful for that.
I think it's nice to have that level of like, you know, connection
Yeah.
with your guru.
Is there a kriti that you find yourself humming often?
Ooh, good question. It's always a tilana. It's never a kriti for some reason. Right now, it's the Desh Tilana. I really like the Desh Tilana.
Yeah.
It's fun. And I also like recently had to relearn it, so I've been singing that in my head all the time.
For our last rapid fire question, who is your favorite Carnatic singer, male or female?
Favorite. It's hard to pick a favorite.
And I know your guru is one of your favorites, so maybe besides
Of
your
course.
guru.
My all-time favorite Carnatic musician is Abhishek Raghuram. I think that he's like pure creativity on stage. It's so amazing to see, like watching him perform. I think it's specifically watching him perform because you're seeing his mind work, you know, like you can see him thinking like through his eyes, like he's always like, he is like the best example of you're in the moment, nothing before or after matters. Like he is just so present, and he thinks of everything just like so wonderfully on the spot, and it's concepts that like I feel like I would never be able to even conceptualize thinking of, and he's whipping them out on stage, and I think he's just like taking Carnatic music in a whole new creative direction, and I just love listening to him. I feel like he just provides so much insight on like how much Carnatic music has to offer in the modern age, you know?
Well, that wraps up today's interview. Thank you so much, Ahana, for taking the time to be here and, you know, just having a nice chat with us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much for your wonderful answers, and we hope that they resonated with each of you in one way or another.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you in our future episodes.